We can do a list of the members. James Fitzgerald Seiss, Anastasia Dale, Ramla Khalid,
Keoli
Karthik,
Maddie Berlin,
Faye Tang, Mark Panessa, and Iko Batista, and then
Kian Anavati,
Sebastian Dijilovic. Well, we think. We think that it's a good representation of our general ethos towards activism, towards the commitment of Honi Soit to being a left-wing paper, to represent student voices. These kind of things were in our mind while we picked that.
And speaking towards our character as a team, we are fiery, we're coming in with a bang, and we're not leaving without making a boom.
Exactly.
Let's burn this. Let's burn.
Let's burn.
Let's burn. Well, we have written, as per the records, 104 articles, and out of them being 10 news pieces. And our articles are not just about one aspect of the Honi Soit. We've written about news, analysis, perspective, opinion, culture, music, reviews, etc. So we do have a lot of diversity in our articles and in our team members ourselves. So we do have a bunch of Honi experience. At least some of us, we can say that for certain we have a bunch of Honi experience.
Yeah, I'd also point out that we have a number of members who've written and edited for autonomous collectives as well. I'd point to Iko Batista's editorial
experience, as ACAR Honi and Disability Honi, and Mark has written for ACAR and Disability Honi. I myself I am in the editorial team for Women Honi and planning to start editorial experience starting from tomorrow actually.
Well, I think that a lot of us, all of us actually have editorial experience, publishing experience in other places and have experience just across the board. In addition to that, I think that the number of our articles demonstrates this. Again, 104 articles, I think, from the article that was recently published, and increasing as well. As for the three members of our ticket, I think that would also state that we have 7 members of our ticket who have been continually writing and publishing with Honi Soit for a longer duration. I would specifically point to authors like Faye Tang, who's been writing over a number of years. In addition to that, I would say again and point to the editorial experience with various collectives as well.
Yes, we have. As a team, we all sat down to talk about this because we do have a bunch of people who want to keep their course load 4 units or 5 at the best. And as per visa restrictions, one of us, has to maintain a 4 credit load. However, despite all of that, we have other commitments while doing Honi currently, and we've all been managing that pretty well so far. And we did discuss that since we have a full ticket member of like 10 people, we decided that we will allocate the roles accordingly and pick up the slack if someone drops down, because we're a community after all.
Yeah, exactly. We support each other. We're close-knit. A lot of us are friends previously and have understandings of the commitment that it takes to edit and to the experience needed as well. I'd also point to several of our members, the course loads they've taken and the high levels of success they've managed in these areas. In addition to that, I'd also point out, for example, editorial experience with Faye Tang in youth publications. She edits a youth poetry magazine out of Melbourne, and there are award winners on our team for news pieces. We're committed to a high standard, and we recognise that Honi is quite a large commitment, and there are those on our team who are also prepared to make sacrifices for Honi. For example, Mark Panessa will drop down from his 5 units this semester down to 4, so that he can manage this, and we have other team members as well who will decrease their workload outside of Honi Soit myself included, and also decrease their commitments to other parts of university life as well, while still increasing the coverage that we can do in Honi Soit.
No.
No, I don't think so. I think what the conversation has been and what we've talked about is a standard level of commitment. We've talked about supporting each other through we understand what a tenuous process, what a stressful process Honi can be, and we're committed to uplifting everyone so that we can achieve a high standard overall, not just in some places. We are dedicated to this ticket, and we're dedicated to uplifting everyone on it.
And we're going to start putting in the effort from the campaign to the final election season.
Yeah.
And we're committed throughout.
Exactly.
Open communication and honesty, we're going to, and our close-knit bond, we're willing to make sacrifices for Honi, and also just giving it our best as a team.
Yeah, so I'd point also again back to the experience they have outside of Honi Soit. These writers are not only publishing and writing for Honi Soit, they also write for the variety of all of the publications that UCID has to offer.
Can you give us an example?
Yeah, Kayoli Karthik has written for Pulp. We have members that write for the 1978 edit.
VoiceWorks.
Yes, VoiceWorks as well. We look at their publications. When we look at this, we have to look at their total commitment to their workload. And right now, I think that our ticket demonstrates a understanding of the dedication needed in all aspects of university life, which I think is something that's important within Honi Soit as a representation of all facets of university life, not just one or not just, purely dedicated onto Honi Soit, but a large collection of experiences.
Yeah, and to add on to that, I'm an international student and I have to take 4 units in order to, meet my visa requirements, and in one semester of Honi, I've written 30 articles. So I do believe that all of us have the same dedication and willing to, with other editorial experience together, cumulatively, we're willing to put in the same effort for Honi if we do get elected.
Yeah, one final thing I'd just like to say is if we look at the publishing and the writing that's happened with our ticket, we can see, even though we might have some members of our ticket who've published, 4 or 5 articles and then have gone on to publish pieces in other varied, some professional papers as well. I also think that this should be put into context of the other ticket as well. Which currently sits with, I think, 50-something articles, none of which are news. And I think that's representative, again, of a lack of commitment to... Yeah, I mean, I'd state that there are still members of our ticket that do write, fanatically for Honi Soit. Kia, for instance. But yeah, I'd also again point towards other publications as well. And I'd also like to state again that we have seen an increase of articles in the other ticket focused on news, specifically when it was pointed out that they had not written news articles. Now, I do not think this shows a particular commitment to news articles, and I think that our demonstration of our continued effort to publish and to write news pieces shows our continued capability with Honi Soit.
Did you say that out of the 100 there was 10 news pieces?
Yes.
So 10% of all of the articles is a high dedication to news?
We think that in addition to this, we've written analysis articles covering news and campus news as well. The news category as a whole does not encompass the entirety of the news reportage in Honi Soit. Specifically, I'd point to articles I've written, or an article I've written on the flag policy and an update of the flag policy in UCID. These articles are the articles we're looking at publishing more of stuff surrounding the UCID community and the news in general.
Yeah.
So I'd say that that representation of news does not cover does not accurately demonstrate the entirety of our ticket's dedication towards
And
things.
also we can speak for diversity in our articles as well. The other ticket, no shade, but the other ticket, we have diversity in terms of environment and STEM, which is not something that's rarely seen only, especially in this 2025. And that can speak to a bunch of students lying outside the realm of just arts culture that want to read more about what's going on in Australia, especially what's happening in Australia. And we do have that diversity covered in our articles as a team.
Well, I'd like to direct us back to our previous discussion of publication in other university publications as well. Again, Ramla has published in some of them. We have Kayuli and Mark as well.
Yes.
We have professional editorial experience within our ticket. Specifically, I'm looking at Fei Tang. She is an editorial assistant. Professionally, she's paid for that role. I think that we need to look at our ticket as a totality, not just within Honi Soit and the Honi Soit community. I think that if you look at our dedication towards news reportage and towards the causes of the campus, I think you can see a high dedication in general.
Yes, and we're willing to take, and the people in our ticket are willing to take that experience, editorial experience and writing, publishing experience from the other publications to put that dedication to Honi Soit, to use that experience for a good cause and make Honi Soit and make our team better suited for Honi Soit.
Yeah, exactly, to allow a flourishing of campus reportage and reportage on a variety of topics. We have environment, we have
analysis.
Analysis. We're looking to start a sports reporting, which we think is an underrepresented part of the Honi Soit community as well. Well, I think you can already see that in the pictures our reporters have delivered. I think that we have 5 news articles, I think, which we've pitched and which are under development right now. In addition to that, you can see a continued effort throughout our team, I think, to attempt to publish pitches and to attempt to pitch and continue to engage within the Honi Soit community. We think that there has been a neglecting of the news coverage within Honi this year, and we'd like to return and increase the amount of news coverage, specifically looking at further call-outs and further interaction and further development of investigations and stories. We think we can do this through call-outs and through things like sports, campus coverage, that kind of thing. I would also not say that we're oppositional in general. I would say that we wish to build on the backs of the many achievements of this ticket, specifically in the excellent culture and arts reportage. I think you can see this in our ticket's commitment towards reviews, music, these kind of things. Many of the people on our ticket have covered extensively concerts, art gallery things, interviews, these kind of things. Plays, yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yes, we have. We've discussed this in respect to a keen understanding of the news climate within Australia, looking specifically at other publications.
We basically want to pick up articles that mainstream media does not cover. For example, there was a protest article that Antoinette Litoff picked up in her podcast about IDF officers coming onto campus, which mainstream media does not cover, and student newspaper does. So we're trying to get more call-outs and more information on what's going on by campus by asking students itself what they want being covered on campus, what issues are relevant to them and what matters, and trying to get more experience getting those students or other students picking up these news that university as a whole wants to listen to, not just a particular aspect of university, but university as a whole, different kind of students from different cultural and economic backgrounds that want to hear stories that matter to them and what's happening in Sydney, New South Wales currently.
Yeah, I'd also jump off of that. and state we're looking to spotlight the work of academics within USyd as well. This was something previously done within Honi Soit. I can refer back to editions as early as the 1920s and 30s, I think, where they spotlighted news of academics retiring, academics research, things like this. Honi Soit has a history of this, and we'd like to reinvigorate this history of a spotlight of academic.
There was an example of Dr. Chris Pepin-Neff who got
It's controversial.
Controversial. Yes, extremely. But that's what makes it a good article, because it rebuffs myths that people do not know about before, and sometimes an article is supposed to have a bit of controversy.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's Honi Soit.
It's Honi Soit.
There's been many controversies in the past.
And he was happy to get his work across, and was truly grateful to the Honi Soit. Not to mention Professor Jody Webster as well got his work published, and his research work published, and was grateful for that as well. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, and on the controversial topic, what is Honi Soit if not controversial? Honi Soit has an enormous history of controversy. Honi Soit is no stranger to controversy, and we wish to still keep this tradition.
Yes. And people talk about articles that have controversy because it has controversy after all. It gives them a subject to talk about, gives them a chance to debate on, and a good article is an article if it gets people to talk about it.
We're looking to expand Honi's audience in general, and we think we can still do this by maintaining Honi Soit's left-wing line.
Yes, we're not going to change that because that's been a long-standing history of Honi Soit, and we're in complete agreement of that. However, there will be some controversy for those people who do not believe the left-wing aspect of Honi Soit.
We're not going to pander towards people who don't, who find this to be bad or.
Yeah.
We think that generally these people can be engaged through Honi's wide reportage base. Specifically, I would like to spotlight again the talking about academic coverage, sports coverage, further news coverage. We can still write these articles and have left-wing directions, and they still will be read because of Honi Soit's unique position within the university as a student newspaper. People will read these articles, and they do read these articles.
And covering all aspects as well. There will be passions, there will be articles that cater to every passion of a student as well.
Still maintain a left-wing perspective in them. It's just it's implicit within the university, I think, reporting in the university, Honi Soit's reporting, because it builds a community around the university and allows people whose voices have been oppressed and dismissed to have some sort of outlet for that or some sort of place that they can express themselves. And I'd like to see a proliferation of voices and opinions within Honi Soit to continue its left-wing legacy.
Yeah, and also giving students a chance to read about something other than culture.
Yeah.
For students who cater to more scientific or academic backgrounds who want to read more about what's happening in their particular field with catering to diversity while maintaining the left-wing stance.
I think looking at the examples of other lifestyle magazines, Vogue, these kind of things, I think we want to recenter news reporting within our mission and our understanding of the university, our coverage of the university. That's essentially it. We want to see an expansion of the news base, and we want to look at this in a variety of situations. Again, what I've talked about.
Not just, yes, news of course, but adding to diversity in articles as well, that represents a newspaper of diversity of different students and their passions, and not focusing on just one stream.
Exactly. Yeah. Different disciplines. Different articles.
Institutions, correct.
Exactly, yeah. We mean that we're looking to see a expansion of news, because we think that Honi Soit, as has often been pointed out, even I think by the other ticket, as to the nature of Honi Soit's sort of reputation as more cliquey. I think that we wish to see a recentering of news. That's basically what our commitment is to. And we think we can still, we know we can continue to maintain the high level of culture reportage. Again, I would harken back to what I said previously about the experience of the members on our ticket. I would refer again to those who haven't written news pieces within Honi Soit. They've also had editorial experience writing news.
Outside of Honi Soit?
Yes, yeah. I'd point to.
For context, that is more than half of your ticket that has not written news in Honi Soit.
Yeah, I'd point to Faye Tang, who's written news in her role as an editorial assistant. James Fitzgerald Seiss, who's has publication history as well.
Writing news?
I believe so. I think that he has analysis published, I think.
James is my reporter and typically does more culture.
Yes, yeah, he does. But he's a political economy student and he lives in Stucco and he's very dedicated to news and political coverage. I think that, yeah. And you'll see this increase within the next few weeks as well. We've already discussed within our ticket how to increase the amount of news we wish to see. We have people who've already pitched news articles. We're not shying away from news at all, and I think that I would compare our dedication to news to the other tickets' dedication to news. I would also state that, again, we have people that don't shy away from further aspects of news within the campus at large, and analysis, and people who attempt investigation pitches, things like this.
Yeah.
We wish to increase the amount of investigations as well, specifically looking at call-outs, these kind of things. Look into further call-outs for investigative pieces, yeah. Well, I think that you can look at various things. You can point towards university divestments. You can point towards university relationships with specifically Israel, things like this. You have places you can have reporters look into further, examine further the university's relationships with things. You can do investigation reports on the cultural area around here as well. I don't think there's any shortage of investigations that can be done, and I think we're committed to a increase in investigations, news, campus reporting, all these kind of things that I've previously stated. I think this has not been more consistent because there hasn't been more opportunities within the current establishment of Honi Soit to increase the amount of this. I would note towards the lack of news call-outs specifically. I would think that we can increase this. I would also note that there is a history of, at least in the current ticket, of news call-outs being centred around protests. We would still keep this up, and we'd expand that to other points of news reporting within the university at large.
And I'd like to add on that Honi Soit right now has a reputation of picking up protests and student protests or protests in general that mainstream media, once again, does not pick up. And this has been well documented in the current state of what's going on. It's the current state of affairs right now.
Exactly.
We should want to continue that reputation and keep that going.
Yeah, we're committed to reaffirming Honi Soit's challenge to institutional power and its continued legacy of reporting on things that the mainstream media misses as well.
Yeah, and what matters to the student and what matters to the student from marginalized backgrounds who want this news to be shared, who wants their voices to be heard.
Exactly. Yeah, I would think that this is spotlighting the university's treatment of First Nations people. I would think further coverage on First Nations issues around Sydney, looking at various issues that are affecting First Nations people which are not reported in mainstream media. I'd look specifically at implicit uses of power to dismiss or stop or destroy the houses of First Nations people in Glebe. Glebe previously. Housing, for instance, which is an issue we've reported on in the past. These kind of things. We're committed to further reporting on these topics, which again we think has not been reported on so well within Honi Soit. Well, I can't speak for the other people. I've had several personal issues recently, which mean that I've not been able to be in Sydney, and I've also been sick as well. I think that we're not at all deflecting from this position. I think you can look at our coverage
Yes.
in the past, yes. I don't know why some of our other members weren't at this.
So there was no conversations about the team going?
We had several members that did, I think, want to go, did express going, but I think they found themselves in situations where they couldn't go for sickness or other reasons. I don't think that this means that we're not committed to this at all. I think we would like to increase the coverage of these things. Again, we've covered this in the past and we'll continue to cover this.
How would you tackle that as an editorial team in the future if that was to happen again?
We'd attend.
With personal issues aside?
With personal issues
people
aside.
Can't make it?
Yes.
And with
we recognise Honi Soit demands a sacrifice. We recognise Honi Soit demands an understanding of the needs and capabilities of the reporters. This would not happen again. I can absolutely promise that.
We do recognise as a team that sacrifices are meant to be made, and we've had this discussion in the past as well with communication, that we're willing to drop many commitments for Honi Soit because we are dedicated to...
This won't happen in the future. I can vouch for that.
Well, some of us are English students after all, and we do have experience in creative writing through our classes, so we do believe that with editorial experience, which we aim to get while getting into office with training, that we will give writers a chance to actually express what they would get.
I just jump on that point and just state we look to build off the model of pitch and bitch previously done within this current ticket for more sort of immersed interaction with reporters. I'd specifically look to see not a kind of this kind of model with the entire editorial team, but rather looking to hold single events with single editors throughout the semester. The editor themselves will meet up with their reporters, talk with their reporters, and figure this out. This is what we're committed to. I think that Pitch and Bitch was a good model, but I think if we scale it smaller, we could see greater achievement. I also think that part of the reason I, myself, was drawn into reporting was because of seeing the Honi Soit community and the achievements of the Honi Soit community. I think that, again, giving these people, the newer reporters, a place where they can feel comfortable and nice and easygoing, kind of friend group relationships, these kind of things would greatly enhance the interpersonal aspects of Honi Soit.
What would you do if your reporters had no time for that? If you tried to hold one-on-one activities, which I have tried to hold this year, and nobody had time to attend?
One-on-one activities, I think, are different. I think often people are scared to go to one-on-one activities.
Sessions at which your group of reporters were invited to speak to the editor so that you could communicate with them, like you said, in those smaller events. What would you do if they didn't have time for that?
I think you'd have to find alternate methods. Specifically, I would think about calling. I'd think about conversations with them. I think mostly engagement comes from interpersonal things. We could, I think, through calling, through talking with them personally, I think achieve greater successes.
And there are, to the use of technology, there are a couple of websites that allow us to make sure that, allow us to give reporters a chance to tell us when they're free. For example, there's When to Meet, and there are polls right now that allow us to have one day especially for all the reporters to come down and...
Exactly. I'd say we learn from the issues with the pitch and bitch model, and we again apply this on a smaller scale and look towards further increasing of the reporter base.
We can't speak for every reporter to obviously show up, but as long as we get a good amount of them, we're happy to at least impart.
Exactly. And Honi Soit is about community, in part about community and community building, and we think we're committed to this. And this is just one of many ways in which we are. I think you see that throughout our policy.
I think it's important to note for the video as well, it is now called the Pitching Hour. We are still not using that name.
Yeah, don't let us see this.
Yeah,
we promise.
James and Mark have experience applying for university grants. There have been previous tickets as well which have applied and succeeded in gaining university grants and have been able to hold workshops. I believe Kate, is a specific example of this. We would look to the achievements of these things and seek these grants. Yeah, I think we have more fidelity to this idea than perhaps has been in the past. I think we're looking to increase this aspect and engage in further dialogue with students about this, specifically replying and increasing the amount of work done on sculpting a pitch. I think we'll look towards this as a practical aspect. This idea of the creation of the pitch, not just the article, and I think we're committed to that as well. Yes, we do.
Have you discussed what it might look like?
Yes, we have discussed what it might look like. We have several handbooks that we've been looking at in the past. We will create our own reporter handbook and look for inspiration from a wide range of sources. No, I don't think so. I think that our commitment to young journalism throughout our ticket shows our understanding of the importance of youth reporting. I think we would look to build on the connections we have already and build on the understanding of the importance of this.
What connections nationally do you guys have already?
I have connections with a couple of marine science and science organizations, newsletters called the ASMS. I have an in with the Nature publications. I have ins with, now The Conversation.
Mm-hmm. And in the context of national student media publications, does your team currently have any connections to any national student media publications?
I believe we have a number of members on our ticket who are friendly with or talk with people who write for other publications. I think Kayuli Karthik is in conversation with a number of people from various other student media conversations. I don't have the exact names for you because I'm not Kayuli Karthik and I can't remember them right now, but I'll get back to you.
If this is a serious policy, then can you attest to why there wasn't much help from your team at all, really?
Yeah, I think...
with Student Journalist Conference. And is that something you're going to plan to do next year? And if so, how are you going to actually do that without having those connections?
Absolutely. Yeah. We did have more members plan to go to the Student Journalism Conference. Again, problematic issues, sort of personal things like that. Sick family members, that sort of stuff, nasty. Anyway, so we're committed to this, I would say. They're not just plans. I think you see this in our relationships already. Faye Tang and her relationships with professional publications and things like that. I think it would be fairly easy to reach out to these other things. And I also think that Honi Soit already has connections with these things, and we could build on them. It's not like we're coming from a totally blank slate. Honi Soit itself has an incredible connection with student papers around Australia. I think building...
For a lot of work.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Through a lot of work.
We're willing to put in that work and build on that work as well.
Our entire sort of thing throughout that, I think, is a dedication to this work. Yes, we do. I don't think this needs to be within the policy. I think we can. We very much intend to hold it. We've already had conversations about it and about specific people that we'd like to see there, reaching out to it and building on the connections of Honi Soit within traditional print media. I'd note specifically Honi Soit's established relationship with a number of mainstream media and publishers as well, specifically Penguin Australia, I'd also note again, several other ones, the Sydney Morning Herald as well. We would seek to build upon the achievements of Honi Soit and continue to engage these mainstream media sources. We've discussed the planning of it. We've also, I think, previously some of our members have had experience, I think, within the Student Journalism Conference in previous years. We understand we understand that it's an important aspect of Honi Soit life, and we seek to build upon it, as we do seek to build upon every achievement of Honi Soit within our ticket.
And do you think you're capable of putting a conference together, given that only one of you attended the conference this year?
I think so. I think that given our dedication towards things like university events, managing various other publications, things like that, communication with traditional media, I think we can put this together. I'm confident about this.
And like we said before, we also realised that being in the Honi Soit as the editorial team would require sacrifices, and we're willing to make these sacrifices to be the best team for Honi Soit for the next upcoming year.
Absolutely. I think that Honi Soit should be committed to voicing a variety of opinions and ideas. It is a place for dialogue and for the development of thought. I don't think, again, we shy away from controversy, and we're prepared to publish articles that start dialogues and conversations. We don't necessarily agree with the entirety of the articles published. I would also point to previous examples of this in Honi Soit, where they've published articles they don't tend to agree with necessarily, editorially, but they are still published because of Honi Soit's commitment to giving people voices.
So would that not kind of be contradictory to your policy standing up for queer rights and standing against turf and swerve rhetoric by them publishing turf and swerve rhetoric? Even
I don't think we've stated that we would publish turf and swerve rhetoric.
But you're saying that you wouldn't shy away from publishing different
We would not
opinions?
publish turf and swerve rhetoric.
Okay.
Can we ask what your line is then? Because you've expressed an interest in platforming content which could be deemed controversial, but you clearly do have baseline what you wouldn't publish. What does that look like for you guys?
For starters, we talk about stuff that, in terms of, I can speak for science especially, that when it comes to science, there are certain theories and facts that we want to put across, and depends on how controversial it gets for people who don't actually believe in that, but as long as the majority of the left-wing propaganda does believe in that, as well as...
Exactly. Well, I mean, I'd state that we're looking at seeing, like reportage on climate change, things like that, social issues as well. I think that, combating ideas of misinformation, specifically to do with, biological sexes and genders and things like this, I think is foremost in our understanding of this. We have a number of queer members on our ticket as well, and we're not prepared to, and we're entirely prepared to give these people's voices and allow them the space to express themselves. I think that a dialogue is important, but there are aspects of this dialogue that we will not platform. Baseline. I think anything that brings into question or challenges notions of transgender rights, marriage equality, women's rights, anything like this, we will not platform. You will not see us publish any articles which state anything like this. We're committed entirely to giving the queer community a voice within Honi Soit.
Yeah.
So how did you tackle that situation then, when it came to being in your team and there was a little bit of controversy in the queer space surrounding that? How did you tackle that?
There were conversations had within our ticket about...
With our ticket member itself, yes.
Yeah, about editorial lines and about our view within the
they do recognize that when made editor on the editorial team, they will deem from publishing such controversial stuff, especially because they are in office and they do represent being in office and power too. I mean, and a voice for people, yeah.
Currently only James Fitzgerald Sykes. James is also going to resign from this position in case of election. I think
clarify that faction is
grassroots. Cool.
Yeah, we've had this conversation with him itself, and
yes,
he did.
James.
And he did agree to back out in case for the election. Yes.
And is that the only one historically? Is there any formally aligned people?
I believe that's it.
That's just
it?
Yeah.
We think that we're not only referring to this current ticket, we're referring to previous tickets as well. And I think that generally we're looking to increase reportage in as I've said, Stu Poll, looking at these things from a critical and analytical lens. Well, I mean, I think we're looking to see what many traditional media publications have with, I can spotlight, I think it is Limelight, I think they're a Sydney Morning Herald as well, they have a nice little photo. You get a little photo, and you get to write a little bio as well. I think we'll do that. Now, we have some members of our ticket who have experience with website design and various different things like that.
With over 200 reporters
I think
every
we're now
year.
at 300.
Yeah. With over 200, 300, 400 reporters every year.
Yeah.
What time are you going to find to write bios?
Oh, look, see, I would refer you again to the policies that these various papers have. Many of these papers have the reporters themselves actually write the bio and then submit the photo themselves. So, they haven't figured out, we'll learn from
But then
more
you need to
experience.
upload it onto the website.
That's fine, we can do that. In the same manner that we're committed to uploading news, we're committed to uploading these because we think it will increase the community activity within Honi Soit and continue to have a greater presence in the community.
Also, you will still need to vet all of those.
Yeah,
And, like,
absolutely. Yeah.
And you'll need the people to actually respond.
Yeah.
We do recognize the work that was going into this, and we're happy to put in this work.
Yeah, absolutely. Victoria Gillespie's pretty good as well.
That's a former editor, but yes, that's okay.
Well, no, she was an editor last year.
We'll let you say Vic. Vic's sorry. Yeah.
Vic is great.
That's all.
I did
move on.
one of my. I think again, I'd point you back to our profiles, and I'd point you again to just the spotlighting of articles in various different
Diversity and institutions.
Yeah. We'll look to see like a furthering of the aspects of the website which are already we find quite good. The editorial profiles. I think we'd like to see more articles displayed on the website as well. Again, we'd use the website design experience we have within our ticket currently to achieve this, I think.
Does your team have experience with WordPress? The
Yes.
website?
Yes.
Okay. And how is website overhaul relevant to spotlighting articles in different faculties? How is that not just like...
Well, I think currently there are several categories which are not spotlighted on the main page, which I think we'd like to see further increased. There was a letters category that's not on the main page and has nothing published under it for years. We'd like to see that. We'd like to see an expansion of that and a furthering of that. Again, I would state that we're proudly left-wing in our understanding of politics. We're committed, I think throughout our document, we state we're committed to uplifting voices of oppressed communities, continuing Honi Soit's tradition of left-wing coverage. This is non-negotiable, as I've already stated before.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, we were looking to see a greater increase of diverse articles within Honi Soit as well.
Yeah, while maintaining the left-wing stance.
Yes, exactly,
100%.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I would like to state some commitments that we have, rather than describe ourselves in a sliding scale, because I think that this is not a manner that we believe is representative of the nuance of politics. We're committed to uplifting voices of marginalised and oppressed people, continuing Honi Soit's tradition of this. We're committed.
Giving them a voice.
Yeah,
with
absolutely.
a chance to read about stuff that actually matters to them, about the stuff that they've got. I mean, for marginalised, oppressed people, to giving them a chance to actually read about what's happening.
Yeah.
And giving them a voice, essentially.
Yeah, queer and Indigenous voices. We're specifically looking to platform within Honi Soit.
Yeah.
We're looking to platform, voices of those who are oppressed. We're looking to further look at interviews within news articles, specifically reports, protests, things like this. We think this is a manner in which we can platform voices which mainstream media neglects. We have a number of members who regularly attend Palestine Action Group protests within Sydney. We have a number of members who are part of collectives and who have experience within, as I've said, protests, things like this, reporting in and for left-wing papers such as Honi Soit. Yeah. I think we intend to do further research and further understand the nuances of NatCon.
Before deciding appropriate people to actually handle this task. We do have a bunch of people who are willing to put in the effort and have the capabilities to do so.
Yeah, exactly.
With a bit of communication, which as a team we ought to do throughout our time being editor.
I'd spotlight specifically those who study politics and political economics. Me, James Fitzgerald, Tice, and Mark as well.
Who on your team has attended an SRC council meeting?
I believe that in the past, I think Mark has attended them. I think Eco has attended them as well. I believe James has also attended them. Well, I think that this doesn't necessarily mean that we'd be looking at same-day editorial feedback, certainly. We're just looking for same-day pitch feedback.
How is that?
If we pitch and editorial things, I think
when you're giving feedback on a pitch, can you define what you mean by editorial feedback?
Editorial feedback is editorial feedback on the actual article itself. If you have someone who gives you an article on the day of layout, we would not take the article on the day of layout.
And we would make that clear.
We'd make that clear, yeah. It's unacceptable to be doing that, and we won't publish that.
But we'll give a chance for the reporter to actually learn and tell them and give them a chance to actually do better in the future.
Yeah, and we might tell them
give it on time. Yes.
you may be able to publish this in another future thing. We'll look at the article itself and we'll give it due consideration in the future. We're committed to same day pitch feedback, and we will.
Sorry, just to clarify, so same day pitch feedback is when you go through a pitch meeting and get back to them that day that it's been accepted?
Yeah. Yes.
So standard anyway?
Yes. No. Previously, members of our ticket have not received same day pitch feedback, and there has been several days, or I think even as long as a week in some cases, where reporters have not received pitch feedback.
And in the circumstance where you did have to tell someone that their draft couldn't be accepted for print, what would you then do with that space? In the newspaper? Because you're creating a newspaper that day. So if you don't have an article for that page, you've got to do something with the page. What do you do?
I would point to other articles, things like that.
There are a couple of articles that go beyond the word count as well, and giving that space for the article to actually be elaborated further, and not giving that only online but also in print. Because there are a couple of articles that go above the word count have to be cut down in print. We're willing to increase that for that one particular space.
Not
would
only
increase that word count on the same day of layup when someone.
Not only that, I think also perhaps looking at other online articles and transferring them onto a print thing in case articles were received on the day of the layup, specifically, at like an hour. 20 minutes before.
And if worse comes to worse, then using next week editions. If someone pitched an article, using next week's edition, one of the articles, put that in the day of the earlier edition, and getting other reporters to write one more article for the next.
Yeah, Honi Soit is both a physical newspaper as well as an online one, and we look at increasing coverage both.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of us are, well, not me, but some of us are English students. Unfortunately, yeah.
Broadcast is not going well.
Yeah, and there are those who are very, very passionate about the Oxford comma. I can point to Faye Tang as a specific example. We'll use the Oxford comma.
And I did have trouble with punctuation earlier, but with the help of my editor, I did learn how to get my punctuation.
Exactly. Yeah. The Oxford comma is in now. Too much passion.
It's like
I'd say our biggest weakness is maybe a similar answer is sometimes a tendency to overcommit. I think you can see this with several of our one specifically doing 5 units. Things like that. I think we do have a tendency to do that, and we've had discussions around that.
Yeah.
Well.
However, we do have we do overcommit as a team, as a ticket to a lot of stuff, but we did have conversations about this where we're willing to drop a lot of our commitments currently for an overall better enhance of the team. Yeah.
So that's how you're kind of looking to navigate that.
Yes, we're looking for communication to navigate at least some of the problems that do anticipate coming up.
Yeah. I think everything we've just said, for greater experience within Honi Soit, double the amount of articles, 10 more news articles and more coming as well. I think the connections and experience we have within Honi Soit and within the university at large, alongside within professional capabilities, shows us as as more accomplished, more experienced, more connected within university life.
And diversity.
And further diversity within our ticket.
Yeah.